Welcome to NARAL's The Morning After. Each Thursday, our podcast brings you the latest on reproductive health care, progressive politics, and the fight to keep abortion safe and legal. NARAL's The Morning After is a production of NARAL Pro-Choice Ohio. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at ProChoiceOH. Enjoy the show.
Hi, I'm Gabe.
Hi, I'm Randi.
And I'm Jaime. So we'll start this week with Whole Women's Health versus Hellerstedt.
Not Cole.
What?
Not Cole.
Not Cole.
Yes.
It's kind of like how Oberfield versus Kasich became Oglfield versus Hodges.
Right.
So oral arguments are next week. Taking a bunch of people from Ohio. It'll be fabulously fun for the rally outside.
In the Supreme Court.
In the Supreme Court.
The
Washington,
big one.
D.C. The big, huge
The real one.
Mm-hmm. The one that has a 100-foot buffer zone, even though they say 35-foot buffer zones around abortion clinics aren't okay.
They have 100-foot buffers, though?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But 35 feet around an abortion clinic, totally wrong.
Right.
Just let that sink in.
Okay, yeah.
So this is out of Texas on House Bill 2, all of their kind of comprehensive bill to basically shutter every abortion clinic in the state of Ohio. Texas.
Mm-hmm. And that seems like
Easy,
so
yeah.
similar.
Yeah.
And it is very similar to what's happening in Ohio. I think the biggest difference is how kind of upfront Texas was about it and how sneaky Ohio has been about it. You know, they had House Bill 2. It was this big, huge bill. They did 2 special sessions of the legislature because Texas doesn't run a continuous legislature like Ohio does. So we got the filibuster the first time around and managed to stave it off. And then, of course, they just called a second special session because nothing says we're good stewards of the taxpayer dollars like calling 2 special sessions to pass a ridiculously unconstitutional bill. So it has a whole bunch of what we could consider trap laws, targeted restrictions on abortion providers, including that they have to be regulated as ambulatory surgical facilities,
which is totally not necessary.
And totally not necessary. And so it's something that we've been dealing with in Ohio to a degree for a really long time, but what they've kind of picked up on since Ohio passed their laws are that, you know, in addition to calling them ambulatory for surgical facilities, which is what they do here in Ohio, they have to make ridiculous restrictions on top of that. So, you know, because they're surgery centers, they should have 8-foot wide hallways so that 2 gurneys can go past each other, even though gurneys don't really exist in abortion clinics. You know, we're not talking about you going in for open heart surgery. We're talking about...
The inside looks like a dentist's office.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
It's like any other doctor's office you've really ever walked into. So Texas has a whole bunch of those kind of hallway width. There we go.
Yeah.
The words I'm really looking for today. And how big the janitor closets are, and all kinds of stupid little restrictions on that. And also admitting privileges for the doctors, similar to Ohio's transit agreements. And really, I mean, this is the biggest case since the 1992 Planned Parenthood v. Casey. And one of the reasons it is because it's kind of testing Casey, because Casey was the one that did this whole the state can restrict abortion, just not in an undue burden fashion. Mm-hmm. And so court case after court case has been kind of testing, well, what is an undue burden? And it seems that one of the standards tends to be that you can't close the last clinic. So we've seen in like Mississippi and Alabama where there's only one clinic left and there's a bill, you know, that targets that one last clinic. Mm-hmm. They're struck unconstitutional, but is making a woman drive 300 miles from her home city in Texas to the closest clinic an undue burden on that woman. The Texas court, of course, kind of famously now said no, because it's, you know, kind of flat and, you know, straight. So if it was curvy and hilly, it might be an undue burden.
Were we riding our bike there? Like, okay.
You can get our gas mileage because it's straight and flat, so it's not as expensive. I don't know. So really what we're looking for is what really is an undue burden and where is that line? Because restriction after restriction is closed clinic after clinic across this country in Ohio and Texas and everywhere. So,
and these are clearly done to close clinics. I mean, and so they're absolutely meeting the definition of an undue burden.
Yeah.
If the whole point behind a regulation is to shut down a clinic, that's an undue burden.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's no reason for the hallways to be that wide or for the janitor closet to have whatever.
This is about women's health, Gabe.
How big of a closet the bucket and mop are in is really about women's health.
Exactly.
So one of the clinics in Texas,
Mhm.
Whole Woman's Health,
Yes.
is challenging these rules.
Yes.
And this case is before the U.S. Supreme Court. And we're watching it, just to be clear for everybody listening, we're watching it here in Ohio because if there's a victory for Whole Woman's Health, then that could set a legal precedent for all the other states to say, well, these sort of abortion restrictions are no longer allowed. We're going to use Texas as the basis for this ruling, but we're going to apply it to other states, including Ohio.
Yeah.
So we could start to fight back here in Ohio with a victory for the folks in Texas.
Of course, it became a whole lot more complicated last week when Scalia died. But
yeah.
So, it's kind of more likely now that we would get a case that wouldn't necessarily apply to Ohio, because if it is a tie.
But only if it's a tie.
Yeah, only if it's a tie. If we win.
A win's still a win.
A win's still a win.
Right.
So it's really still up to Kennedy on whether or not women have access to safe and legal abortion across the United States. So go Justice Kennedy.
Right.
How do people feel like he's
swung both ways? So
yeah, I mean he's squarely in the middle, and they've been doing a lot of sort of preventative defense. There's been very famously a lot of women, especially lawyers, who've approached the court and said, listen, I'm a working professional lawyer. I've had an abortion. This is what a real life example looks like of somebody who has had an abortion. It was a positive, point of change in their life. They were able to move on instead of, having a pregnancy that for whatever reason wasn't something that they wanted. And that they've become, successful in their life, and having that abortion was part of it. So they've been doing, trying to lay the groundwork, trying to establish that this would be a positive step for women all across the country.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Like I said, the oral arguments are Wednesday. They do take audio of those arguments. So, but they're usually not available until the end of the week. So Friday next week, that audio should be available, but we'll hear lots of reports out of there that day, of course. And actually they're also live streaming the rally that you guys will be at in DC. So we will definitely share the link with everybody for that live stream of the rally so you can participate from home.
Yeah.
Yay. I read an article the other day that Clarence Thomas hasn't asked a question in 10 years.
That's right. It's insane.
Isn't that insane?
He sits there.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Anyways.
Appointments for life. Yay.
Yeah. Really.
He made a snide remark like a year or two ago, and that made national news.
Yeah, because it was like the first time he opened his mouth. It wasn't
substantial. He cracked a joke, and people were like, "Oh my God, he talked."
Exactly.
There have been some very serious arguments that he should step down if he's not going to participate.
Yeah.
And there's no legal requirement or legal mechanism for him to do so. I think maybe short of Congress. I think Congress can impeach Supreme Court justices.
I think so, but
it
have to have
takes
a reason. They'd have to have a
and
pretty
him
good
not
reason.
Talking, I don't think is ever going to meet that requirement.
Probably not, unfortunately.
But yeah, you're right. He doesn't talk.
No,
really
which
doesn't.
might be a good thing. Who knows? Well, he still dissents most of the time.
Yeah.
But
Right.
Yeah. So also John Oliver, who I love because he always goes in depth and does really great pieces on lots of different things. But this week he actually, talked about abortion and talked about the whole women's health case. And if you haven't watched it, you should YouTube it because it was really, really awesome. And, first he made the point that most people believe that abortion should be legal in at least some cases. And so he went on just to talk about, all of these trap laws that have been put on the books and talking about whether, there really is an undue burden. And he told one story specifically that pertains to whole women's health about, it was a 13-year-old rape victim who was trying to get there, and they weren't going to be able to help her. The only thing she was going to be able to do, I believe she said she would have had to go to either Nevada or New Mexico and travel and come up with $5,000, get there and just go through all of this to be able to end her pregnancy. And she was like, she wasn't able to do that.
It's a 13-year-old.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So if that's not an undue burden, I don't know what is. Like, that's really ridiculous. And, they showed the clinic there where they're talking about saying that they were going to be closed down because their walls weren't wide enough to let 2 gurneys go through. There was also the clinic in Alabama who said that now the legislature is trying to take up a bill saying that you can't have a clinic within 2,000 feet of a school, specifically because they're by a school. So it's now they're coming up with bills specifically to shut down certain. It's like, now you can't have a building that's blue because this is about women's health, and blue buildings, just cause a lot of problems. So we need a bill that says that you can no longer have blue abortion clinics.
Yeah.
Like, that's basically what they're doing.
Yeah. The doctor in Alabama was really offended because he said, this was like the point where everybody in the audience went, ooh, he said, they're treating us like sex offenders.
Yeah.
I mean, how wrong is that?
Yes.
Exactly.
Somebody who went to medical school is operating a constitutionally protected medical facility is now being equated to a child molester.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just doing specific things. And he made such a good point about them saying, that's why I said earlier, it's for women's health, because it's like, that's all you hear. That's all they ever say is this is about protecting women. This is about women's health. And he had the little, computer file, like you have a file on your computer. It says definitely not porn. Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's like, you don't protest too much. Like,
so unbelievable.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Yeah, and which is why they're always like, oh yeah, this is definitely about women's health and nothing else. This is not about making abortion illegal. This is about women's health. And it's like, no, it's not.
Right.
Because everything that they've done, including all the things they've done here, it doesn't make it any better. It only makes it harder. Right. And the women in Texas, I think it was either between 100 and 150,000, but those are just the ones who admitted it. It said they tried to self-induce their own abortion.
Yeah.
So it's really crazy. I hope it goes, our way. I guess the lesser of two evils would be a tie, but hopefully it'll go our way, because that would be really good if we were able to try to get beat back some of these other trap laws, like all the waiting periods, the ultrasounds. Dr. Willie Parker, who I think is going to be at Take Root. Yeah. So I'm super jealous because you're going there, because I would really like to meet him. And they had a clip of him, talking to them. And basically he was saying what the state has now. They have a mandated script of he has to say certain things like, you have an elevated risk of breast cancer, or you have an elevated risk of depression and stuff like that. And it was funny because he was like, I have to tell you this, but they also can't stop me from telling you that none of this is, actually true. There's no scientific basis for this. And that's my best medical opinion. Yeah. But the state makes me tell you those other things.
And imagine what you feel like as a patient in those cases. If you're getting open heart surgery or something like that, you rely on your doctor to be able to say, here are the risks of the procedure that you're having. Yes. And you understand the risks associated with it, sign this consent form. Not the state's making me tell you all this bullshit that aren't actually risks for the procedure. I'm going to tell you what the real fact is. And what the hell do you believe?
Yeah.
Right.
Especially you hit a crisis pregnancy center before you hit the abortion clinic and are filled with stuff from there too. I mean, this is what women trying to get access to medical care are facing when they try to get access to care. So we'll see what happens. Our arguments are next week, but we won't find out until June, probably late June. The more controversial cases usually are the ones that come out the last day of session, which is, the last day of June, weekday of June. So we'll see what we find out in late June.
Right. And so we're taking a bus. We talked about it on the podcast last week. The bus is just about full. So I heard a couple people had registered after listening to us on the podcast. So thanks, folks. If you have not yet registered and still want to, we're going to, once we hit capacity, turn the the registration form into a waiting list, so you can still fill that out, or email us at volunteer@prochoiceohio.org. And we'll make sure that you, at a minimum, get some information. And if there are any seats left, we'll try our best to hook you up. So
cool.
I'm excited. I've never been to the Supreme. I've been to DC, of course, many times, but I've never been to the Supreme Court.
It'll be fun.
I know.
You and like 2,000 of your best friends. So yay.
Yes, it should be a really good day. I'm excited.
Although, just to flag it, odds are we won't get to go in the Supreme Court. That was what somebody asked me. And I'm not entirely certain after the case is over if they then open up the doors for groups to come through. But I was in the Supreme Court building last time I was there, and it was a lengthy, obviously full metal detectors, but I mean, they take groups through like 100 people at a time.
Yeah.
So it takes some time to get into the building and tour it. So the odds of getting to see the inside of the Supreme Court are very, very slim, if not impossible, on the day of the hearing. But, people that are going on the Strip, the Capitol building's across the street and the Library of Congress is next door. So there'll be some other things immediately to see. So hopefully we'll have a good day. So, and then the other thing that happened, Kasich finally signed the defunding bill.
Boo.
Yeah. He did it without a signing ceremony.
He's
he didn't
the worst
do
gynecologist ever.
Dr. John Kasich. Normally he signs bills like in his official office and has a fancy ceremony, and they do that incredibly stupid thing where they like sign each letter with a different pen and then hand the pen out to people. He didn't do any of that this time. No. Reporters that we were talking to had no idea when it was happening or whatever. So we were getting calls like Monday saying, "Hey, we heard Kasich sign this thing," because they didn't know it was going to happen.
Yeah.
So, this entire thing, he's operated in this sneaky fashion. They're totally trying to hide the effects of what the bill actually does, and then he hid the bill signing.
I don't think, because thankfully there's been a lot of media around it, not just here in Ohio, but all over. People have been reporting about him and him defunding because he was trying to paint himself as a moderate, which he's not.
Right.
And so now a lot of people have been reporting on it and saying how obviously, not to beat a dead horse, but everything we've been saying that it's only going to cut, health services, HIV testing, cervical cancer screening, all of those really good things. It's not going to do anything about abortion because we already don't fund it.
Right.
And so, I think probably it seems like he got a lot more negative press than maybe he thought he was going to get.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. I mean, he even made comments, on the tour and got a lot of pushback before and after he signed the bill from, Republican voters who said, why on earth are you going after Planned Parenthood?
Yeah, after everything that's happened, it's been proven that they were doing nothing wrong, and we still are going to defund it anyway. And it's like, and it didn't help you.
Right.
No.
Right.
No, it didn't. So one of continuing our comedic run on these issues, Samantha Bee actually took on John Kasich, the moderate, on her show on Monday night. You should definitely check out the video because it was pretty darn hilariously.
Her show, her new show, it's called Full Frontal. It's on TBS, airs Monday nights at 10:30. And so if folks Google Samantha Bee Kasich, they'll find it pretty quick.
Yeah. And so she took on, this whole idea that John Kasich's a moderate, has a really great splice together of all of John Kasich's Midwest nice goofiness, all of his like, well, golly gee, and stupid stuff that you hear him say, and then you hear it all mashed together. You're like, wow, he really is the village idiot. She did a really great piece on how he's not moderate at all. She finished it off with something to the effect of, so, you've got all these crazy guys who say they're going to do really bad things, but here's John Kasich, the crazy guy who's actually done all the really bad things.
Exactly.
Everybody else can talk about it, but as we've talked about on this show over and over and over again, Kasich's the one with the record that's actually the worst on this issue. So she did a really fabulous job pointing that out, and hopefully the rest of the world will start waking up and he'll start being held accountable for his actions because of our gerrymandered ridiculousness in Ohio. There's really not a whole lot other than, beating him over the head with it that we can do here.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, it kind of went into what happened in South Carolina and Nevada with his race because he kind of
yeah. So he did not. Yeah. So he did that. He signed it after New Hampshire, but before South Carolina.
No, he actually did it the day after South Carolina. He came back and did it.
Oh, he did it after?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, that's right, because it was on Saturday. He did it on
Yeah,
Sunday. But yes, but people were already talking about it and didn't help him because
no.
he lost.
And I think he held on to signing the bill after South Carolina because it was really clear he was just going to get spanked.
Yeah.
And he did. South Carolina, there was no saving it. So signing the bill afterwards immediately changed the press.
Yeah.
So
that's true. Because he came in, what did we say, 5th?
Yeah, 5th out of 6.
Yeah, in South Carolina. Yeah, that's not good.
And then he declared himself the winner of the governor's bracket after Jeb Bush, who came in 4th, dropped out.
So he's the last governor running anyways. Okay.
Yeah.
He's the winner of the loser bracket. Yay.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm the best of the worst. Okay.
So South Carolina, he came in 5th out of 6th. Nevada, which was just late last night. I didn't realize when I said, I'll stay up and watch the Nevada returns that they wouldn't come in until midnight Eastern time.
Yeah.
Why they didn't hold that on like a Saturday afternoon, I don't understand. But so Kasich came in 5th out of 5 in Nevada.
No, 6 out of 6. Carson's still in it.
Yeah, Carson's still in it, which made Kasich 5th.
Oh, yeah. Never mind.
5th out of 5 in Nevada.
Yes.
Last place.
Go, Kasich, go.
So, what on earth Ben Carson is still doing in this race, I don't understand.
I think he's just trying to piss off Tada Cruz.
The only thing I've heard that makes any sense is that his campaign staff have been essentially embezzling he's been draining cash. And I think he's still getting something probably from some of these billionaire super PAC people. And as long as there's something that his people can squander, then he'll stay in the race. And I mean, that's not me making that up. There have been actual articles written about I heard his campaign referred to as an ATM. So I think as long as the ATM is still open, he's going to stay in this race.
Okay.
Because he's not really, you don't hear anything about Ben Carson events or or campaign ads or any of that. So that he's actually running a campaign.
Right.
Oh, that was my favorite part about the Samantha Bee thing was when she was talking about how Jeb Bush dropped out and she referred to it. She said, Jeb Bush has suspended his, for lack of a better word, campaign for president.
Please clap.
Please clap. Actually, Trevor Noah on The Daily Show did a really good Terminator gif. If you ever watched Terminator 2, at the end of it, they lower Arnold Schwarzenegger as the Terminator into the molten metal.
Hanging on the chain, going down.
Yes,
they put Jeb's face on the Terminator as he was going down.
That's hilarious.
And at the very end, when the hand goes up into the thumbs up on fire, there's a please clap.
That's amazing.
That's really going to be what he's known for, like the rest of his life.
God, yes.
Please clap.
So sad. Like, don't ask the people to clap for you, Jeb. Bless your heart.
Like you can do that in a way where it's like, hey, give this a round of applause. And people are like, okay, but just please clap.
Please clap for me. I don't know. Nobody likes me. Please. Please clap.
Or all the memes I've seen going around on like Facebook and stuff that say, one child left behind. And it's Jeb because the Bush's legacy is the no child left behind.
Oh my God.
It really is comedic gold.
Yeah.
He really has. Being forced into that run is really kind of killed.
He should have listened to his mama.
Yeah, he should have.
Yeah.
When she said, we don't need any more Bushes and not run. Like, dude, listen to your mom. She always knows what's best.
Yeah.
And she told you not to run and you did it anyway. And now you're the please clap guy. Like, that's what happens.
Your mama knows what's up.
Yeah.
Especially your Southern mama. Come on. Like, really.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, but fortunately, Jeb is out. Jeb is out. And last night in Nevada, Kasich came in this. The big headline out of Nevada was that Trump just like completely crushed everybody.
Yeah.
I don't really understand why it's news that a casino owner did well in Nevada. I would think that would be established.
They have a lot of apparently they have a lot of conservatives there.
Yeah.
And a lot of Mormons, because they were talking about how Mitt Romney won the last two in 2012 and 2008.
Right.
Mitt Romney won because Nevada, Utah is right there,
Right.
and they have a lot of Mormons there.
And they also have a lot of casino workers, so I wasn't that impressed that Donald Trump won.
I don't know about all the casino workers, Republicans.
You know,
although I did hear, I haven't totally looked into it. Somebody was saying on one of the news broadcasts I was watching over the weekend that like because it's a split day, like you could theoretically actually caucus twice, which I think is totally wrong. But
you might be able to.
Yeah. So I was like, that was interesting. Like all kinds of fun you could.
Yeah. Some of these states do things the dumbest way. And I mean, I was looking at it in Ohio, we do our presidential primary and voting for everything all down ticket, both parties, everything on one day. And some of these states, they'll do like a Democratic caucus on one day and a Republican caucus on another day. And then all of the other primaries for, you know, Congress seats and state house and governor and all of that is all down ticket on the third day. They have 3 votes. I don't know what that costs their taxpayers. Just put it all on one day.
Exactly.
You know, that makes 0 sense.
You take a Republican ballot or a Democratic ballot or an independent ballot, you vote, you're done.
Not 3 times.
Yeah.
So Trump won Nevada. Kasich came in dead last. He's kind of brushing it off. He's absolutely just, you know, getting squashed by everybody else that's still in this race.
But if it's a 2-way race, he's going to beat Trump. That's what he keeps saying. I'm like, but
that's
why
what
would
they all keep saying? But it's like, if that's the truth, then why haven't y'all beat him yet?
Yeah.
Like, what are you waiting for? I mean,
nobody's even challenged him. That's been the big news story recently. Is they're all running for second place.
Yeah. And
nobody's even trying to win.
Yeah.
Right.
And the Republicans have got to get their crap together because the Democratic primaries in all these states are proportionally given, delegates are proportionally given out based on vote percentages in all of them.
So you can win some delegates.
Yeah. So, you know, if it's a 60-40 Hillary Bernie, then it's 60-40 delegates. But pretty much from here on out, the Republicans are winner take all because they got screwed last time and having that really, really long primary battle because of the proportional stuff and everything was so close that they decided to make these all winner take all. So, you know, there's no points for second place anymore.
Yeah.
So if you don't get first place, if you don't start beating Trump.
And he's going in, we're about to go into the South. And even though I love my people, like they're probably going, they're all voting for him.
I mean, South Carolina proved that. I mean, he did really well in South Carolina. Nobody thought he would.
Yeah.
They're talking about him sweeping Super Tuesday.
Yeah. I mean, he probably will.
Yeah. And I mean, there's
like the scariest words I think you've ever said, Gabe.
There's been a point during this entire time where we've been like, oh, well, something will happen and Trump will drop out and whatever. But now he's really at the point where there is so much momentum in these ultra conservative voters that it's kind of, you know, got a life of its own. There's actually nothing able to stop him.
I know we were like, and initially we were like, I mean, it would only be a gift if the Republicans would actually nominate Donald Trump. I mean,
now it's really frightening because it's going to happen.
Yeah.
He's about to be the nominee.
Yes. I mean, they need to get it together, but it don't seem like they are going to anytime soon. Because Marco Rubio was like, "Oh, Nevada is my place. I'm definitely going to win," and he didn't win.
No.
Like,
he got squashed by over 20 points.
Yes, exactly. So
and Trump went over 40 for the first time, and their whole line is, "Well, Trump can't get past that 30. 30's been his number, and 30 will continue."
They've been talking about him having a ceiling, which makes sense. And
he blew straight through it.
Somebody on NPR was like, "Okay, is this a ceiling or is this like a retractable dome?" You know? So I don't know, but
really scary.
Then the next question is, who would he pick for vice president?
Oh my gosh!
And I've maintained the entire time that Kasich is, you know, America's angriest vice presidential nominee. That was the sign I held up outside Kasich's his event to announce he was running for president. Ever since he, you know, has started running, he's been like this lovable grandpa type character trying to appear just all gee golly shucks.
Yeah.
Do you need a hug?
Yeah. And so, he's doing everything he can to try and drop that angry angle.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing he's in it for right now that anybody can figure out is, a vice presidential nomination.
But the question is,
Trump
would he
is not
do
gonna
it?
Pick him.
Yeah, would you do it with Trump though? Like, yeah, I mean, we all kind of talked about it being the VP for like Cruz or Rubio or somebody like that. But like, could you imagine? Like, what would that do to your political career to be like Donald Trump's vice president? I think that's a totally different kind of question.
Well, I mean, Kasich's term limited, so his career, his political career, has very few places where it can go. Trump needs conservative credentials. Kasich, can turn off the moderate look and bring that. People have questioned whether, how Trump actually stands on choice issues, whether he's supported Planned Parenthood in the past. And Trump has made comments about, how he recognizes Planned Parenthood's preventive health. I mean, he's made some really horribly anti-abortion statements.
Yeah.
But he's also in the past made some, like, well, I know Planned Parenthood does some good. And so if people wanted to balance that, Kasich has never acknowledged the Planned Parenthood does anything good. So it sounds insane, but
maybe he should just retire and go back to the kitchen. Have a more leisurely life, bake some cookies.
That's his
muffins.
wife's job. She's at home doing laundry, and his hot wife's at home doing laundry.
He needs to go home and help her.
I'm not sure she wants it.
True.
Maybe we should ask her first before we send them back home.
Oy.
Oh, the good old days of John Kasich opening his mouth and inserting his foot.
Yes.
He does it so well.
Yeah.
That is actually the best part about John Kasich, is the completely unscripted nature of his talking.
Yeah.
And even when he fucks up and he gets called out on it, he's like, well, that's just who I am. I'm just going to keep doing this. And hopefully it doesn't piss too many people off. And
Right.
Yeah. Nobody noticed when he said the things at the college in Virginia about the girls being like, oh, I bet you get invited to all the parties. Like, I don't think anyone really noticed, but like they definitely noticed this time.
Yeah.
His comments. Yeah.
So he said that women have come out of the kitchens to support him. Now, people looked at exactly what he said, and it turned out that he was referring to when he first started running, which was in the 70s. And so there's been some kind of, he was talking about the 70s. And, you could excuse this sort of, it's somebody took his women left the kitchens and they spliced it together immediately with scenes from Leave It to Beaver, which was hilarious because it was a scene about talking about caveman days. And then you got Kasich talking about women come out of the kitchens. You could almost excuse it if it didn't come along with a really, really horrible anti-woman agenda.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Or all the other shit he said. I mean, the stuff about his hot wife in the State of the State, sitting up there with Paul Ryan, talking about how their wives were at home doing laundry while they were up doing all the important stuff. How he didn't have, I think it was Taylor Swift tickets for the girl in New Hampshire, about all the parties for the girl in Virginia. Like, if he didn't, every time he said the word woman or woman, follow it with sticking his foot in his mouth.
Right.
Like, you could excuse I was talking about, the good old days in the 1970s where all the women were in the kitchen. Yeah. But he does every single time he opens his mouth and talks about women, he sticks his foot in it because these are the things he believes.
Exactly.
And he talks off the cuff and he says what he believes. And every once in a while he gets caught in actually saying what he believes, which is women should be in the kitchen. So, yeah.
Yeah. He's not for, paid maternity leave. Saying
they should be able to work from home.
Yeah. Everybody should just work from home or just leave it up to employers. Like, they should get creative with it. And if they don't want to do anything, then, oh, well, like, yeah, we're not going to do anything to help you. So you should be in the kitchen anyway.
Should be at home taking care of those kids, making them cookies and taking them to school.
Exactly.
So save all of our money on school busing and everything if all those women just went back home again and drove their kids to school.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, the real John Kasich.
Kasich.
John Kasich, the gift that keeps on giving.
Exactly. I'm really happy though, because at first I was a little nervous that when he first came on the scene and was doing the whole I'm going to be like the positive guy, all the press he was getting was, oh, John Kasich is a moderate. Oh, he's compassionate, conservative. He expanded Medicaid, blah, blah, blah. And now everyone can see the real truth now of who he is and what he does.
And that was a really funny thing. This was the first time that the national press really caught on to that. I mean, every single media outlet reported on how John Kasich talked about women coming out of kitchens.
Exactly.
It really was, especially for somebody who had, just come in second to last in South Carolina. Actually getting some press for saying something stupid versus just paying attention to Donald Trump all the time, which is what the media has usually been doing.
Right.
So. Exactly. And they wonder why we're always talking about him, because they always talking about him.
I know. Just leave it alone.
I know.
Stop talking
He's the only one. Every time he has a speech or rally, they have to go cut to it live and let's watch what he says. We don't have to do that every time.
We really don't.
Anyway,
Please stop.
I digress. But yeah, they're doing too much of that.
So back here.
Now we're going to go on to Let's Get It On. For this week, we just have our lobby day, which we now have scheduled for April 13th. Don't know what day of the week that is. Wednesday, April 13th. Thank you. And you all can go. Is it on our website now to sign up?
Okay. That little link right there.
bit.ly. Is that our link? Okay, just bit.ly/pro-choice 2016. But I assume that's just our website.
That's the registration page for Lobby Day.
Okay, cool.
So it's bit.ly/pro-choice 2016.
Okay.
Yes. Register. Make sure your state legislators know that we don't appreciate what they're doing right now.
Yep. So we'll be asking folks to we'll train them on the day. A lot of the details are still being worked out, but folks can register early if they want. They'll gather together, get some training, hear from our keynote speaker, and then we'll folks over to legislative offices to talk to their representatives and senators about the legislation that's still pending. Make sure that they understand that we need to be protecting women's health, not attacking it. And then we'll have a rally on the State House steps where we can all make our voices heard. So everybody can register. And we'll see them in April.
Yes. Last year we had like 200 people, so maybe we'll have 250 this time. That would be great.
It's a terrific event. So.
Yes.
It was a really good day.
Okay. So everybody register. We will be next week on the road during the
we almost made
bus
it.
trip. The office dog barking. So next week we'll be wrapping up our trip. We might have a show on Thursday, but if not, check for some audio from the trip on Friday. And then we'll be back 2 weeks from now for our regularly scheduled show.
All right.
Okie doke.
Yep.
See everybody then.
Bye.
Bye.